Good afternoon and good morning to everyone tuning in. This is the Net Natives webinar series. For those of you who may not be familiar with who we are here at Net Natives, we are a student specialist marketing group. We only partner with colleges and universities around the United States and actually around the world here. So Net Natives is based in 3 different countries around the world. I'm coming to you live today from Brooklyn, New York. We also have a office out in the UK, and we have one in China as well that works with Chinese student recruitment. So we're located all around the world here. Specifically here within the US, we partner with a number of different institutions from community colleges to four-year universities, really anyone that is looking to recruit students in some capacity. Today, we are just going to be covering community colleges specifically and how they can overcome the unique challenges that face them in 2020 and the coming years ahead here. So to introduce myself, I'm Matt Pagano. I'm an account manager here at Net Natives. To give you a little bit more of my background, I come working within the college marketing sphere. I worked for both Rutgers University and Temple University for about 3 years, focusing marketing efforts, reaching out to prospective students still out to the school, parents as well. So I come within that background, but here, as I mentioned at Net Natives, we specifically just work with colleges and universities. My role here within the company is to actually work with all of our community college partners around the country. So specifically, we work with schools in each of the different regions in the US. So some in the Northeast here where we are based, some down south in Texas, in the Midwest in Oklahoma, as well as out in California. So we do cover a vast different amount of regions here. We get some great perspective in that, and we put in a lot of work and research in the back end. So this is to give you some more information about what we've uncovered about community colleges and really what the focus is going to be here. So I'm going to give you a brief agenda of what today's webinar will look like. We're going to touch on 3 different challenges throughout this webinar. Really, you'll see 4 different points here. These are all kind of identifying the challenges and then how you can overcome them as a community college. So first, we're going to touch on identifying your target audience through research, one of the most important steps, especially within student recruitment. Next is then focusing on creating a brand that represents your school. So we'll touch on some of the examples that we've done with some of our partners here. The next we're going to look at is really automation. It's really the key to personalization. It's the key to outreach into getting and to reaching as many students as possible with a smaller staff and limited budgets. And finally, breaking the mold of a community college. You know, we recognize that you're in a lot of different locations up against four-year universities, private universities. How do you make yourself stand out? So we're going to cover all of that today. At the end of the webinar, I'm also going to have some time for a few questions that we have come in as well. So hopefully we can touch on some key points that you're looking at as a community college here, and we hope that you enjoy everything that we go through. So I'm going to then cover the 3 unique challenges affecting community college marketing and enrollment and how to overcome them. And those 3 challenges are, the first one that we're going to touch on is target audiences seem quite fragmented. How do you identify your ideal student type? So we recognize that this is a big challenge for community colleges because there is normally 100% acceptance rate, and people at many different walks of life can enter into community college. So we will touch on that. The second one will be community colleges may be behind with technology and or understaffed due to lack of budget. So this may be a challenge that you're facing. So we're going to touch on some of the different ways our partners have combated that and other schools around the country. And then finally, the third one is going to be community colleges struggle to articulate their value in a competitive market where they are seen as less than. So again, this touches on that overall way people think about community colleges and seen as less than a four-year university, and how to make yourself stand out and really set yourself apart from every other institution and generate that value. So we're going to touch on each of these challenges and really go from here. So the first one that we're going to cover is really looking at the power of research. So in terms of identifying your target audience, these are some of the things that we do here. And here at Net Natives, we are a digital first marketing agency. So while we do out of home, billboards, TV, radio, we're mostly focused on the digital marketing space. And that's the number one thing that we first would recommend for a community college is put most of your focus into that. And with that, the reason why is because research and data is at your disposal on every walk that you face. So here is on the right-hand side, a study that was done by Moody's Investor Services here in New York. They analyzed numbers from the National Center for Education Statistics. If you've never had a chance to go on the NCES website, it's an amazing tool for all schools and colleges with free data that's out there. So we definitely recommend to check that out if you haven't been there yet. But they've done a projection in 2018 that over the next 10 years, there's going to be a big increase and decrease depending on a state by state basis. So you'll see here that within the South, states like Texas, Pacific Northwest, they're going to see an increase greater than 5% at all of the colleges that are located within these states. And then you'll see some in the Northeast, in California, some schools that are located within the South as well, that they're going to see a decline greater than 5%. So these are just some facts and figures that we talk to our partners about and ways to prepare. If you're in a state that is looking at a decline that's greater than 5%, now is the time to look into that. You want to be the outlier that's generating more enrollments when other schools are facing this decline. So it's the important time to get out ahead of that. And then if you're in a state where the enrollments are looking to increase, you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. You want to make sure that you have the right amount of instructors, classes, students, everything prepared so that way you can actually hit that head on. So these are just some of the different things that we focus on going forward here. Next up, we take a look at another thing that was included into the study done by Moody's. It takes a look at the 4 different degree types, or the main degree types: associate's, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. And it looks at a 20-year period about. So you could see for associate's degrees, there's a big jump up between 2009 and 2018. And they're projecting in 10 years that there'll be another slight increase for associate's degrees. But the big statistic that we took out of this is that if we take 100 students that are graduating from high school this year, or back in 2017, only 67% of graduates enroll at a collegiate institution. 23% are going to a community college. This still leaves 33 of those 100 people that haven't enrolled at any collegiate institution at all. These are really prime candidates for community colleges. There's a number of different reasons why a student may not go and continue their education. They may not have the time. They may immediately join the workforce. They may have financial or family things that they need to take care of. These are the types of people that we need to reach out to for a community college, because we want them to continue their education. We know that time is really a big thing for them. And that's what makes community colleges so great. They offer so many different ways for people to complete degrees, take night classes, weekends, whatever it is. So that flexibility is something that we need, or you need as a community college, to prepare for, and things that we're often taking a look at. And in the next slide here, I'll show you some of the ways that we actually identify target audiences and then build into the next challenge. So currently, we're working with Lamar Institute of Technology. They're a 2-year community college in Beaumont, Texas. It's located about 2 hours east of Houston. And they were making the transition of going from pretty much all out-of-home marketing, so billboards, TV, radio ads, into digital marketing, because they wanted to get more data, more facts behind that. So we really took a step back and said, hey, we need to build this research to create everything else. We need to know who your target audience is and how we can hit them. So as I mentioned at the beginning, community colleges have so many different types of people that can apply and enroll. It's traditional, non-traditional, mature, vocational. Because you offer associate's degrees, you offer certifications for people in the workforce. So we have to be really agile in how we're reaching out to these people on a digital marketing space. So really within that, and I'll talk about this on the next slide, we need to create a way that it's going to appeal to all these different types of audiences in really one shot, one marketing opportunity that is out there. So you'll actually see next up, we have worked with several community colleges in creating a new creative concept and design that they utilize today. And they've actually made the brand for their entire community college. So you'll see the 2 here that I'm focusing on the right. Lamar Institute of Technology is in the top right. On the bottom right is Redlands Community College. They're located in El Reno, Oklahoma. So again, a school that was really looking to grow their student body in so many different areas, whether it was concurrent high school students that were enrolled currently, traditional students, a mature audience that's looking to continue their career or gain a certification. So these are the ways that we help them. We have a full creative team that created this branded, creating this concept for them. And as you can see, it builds the value and it shows people of different ages. So that way, when you have this advertisement on Facebook, on Instagram, it's one that's interactive. It's one that's eye-popping right away. But people of all different ages are going to want to click on it. If there's ads out there right now for a community college and they just see an 18-year-old student or someone that's in high school, it's not going to be appealing to someone that's in their 30s or 40s and wants to come back and finish an associate's degree or look at something else. So these are some of the ways that we help in maximizing a limited budget for you. And that's really what our kind of second challenge is. We recognize that your staff may be small. You may have part-time employees. You may not have the annual budget that a four-year university has, but there's many different ways that you can combat that. And this is really kind of the second step. So we have the research that's put into place. We identify the target audience. Next, with a focus on digital marketing, and these can be generated into billboards as well, we have the creative concept that's going to be appealing and attract that potential student audience. The next thing that we want to look at is, all right, we have a limited budget, we have a small staff. How are we actually going to track and manage all these leads that we're generating? And that's where we're going to talk through the software Akiro. So Akiro is actually a software that we generated in-house here, and it's how I like to say it, it's the infrastructure for all of the student data that we collect across marketing and for your university. So really, within how Akiro works, so it's really designed just for colleges and universities to nurture that potential student. So you look on the left-hand side here, the main facets of it are marketing automation, student journey mapping, landing page, and form generation all in one place. So we recognize here, if you have a small recruitment team, or if you only have a 2-3 person office, it's really a challenge to send out emails to every person that applies or comes to an open house. And if you're sending them manually, you just won't have enough time. You have to make phone calls, you have to attend college fairs, job fairs, whatever that may be. So Akiro is actually a tool that helps you generate workflows that are actually a marketing automation tool, but they're also personalized. So when they reach out to me and say, hey, Matt, thanks for, coming out to the open house. So this is the peak time that I'm interested in a community college. This is where that marketing automation and that personalization is going to stand out for you. So that student's going to get that email 5 minutes after they submit that, and they're going to say, wow, this is great. This school is actually interested in me. They sent me this personalized email that's customized towards me. So our team works for you on creating all of this landing pages and forms that can exist on your website where you don't have to talk to your IT team about creating them. So these are just ways with a small understaffed team, that you can see really the fruits of your labor really come to fruition in the long run. What we have on this right-hand side is a student journey map. So within this student journey map, this is a way that you can track how students live within your funnel. So, one of the biggest challenges that we've discovered, especially with community colleges, are applications aren't a struggle at all. Most of the ones that we partner with, they have too many applications. They get so many on a daily basis that it's just too much for them to handle. It's really taking that extra step from applications into enrollments. How do we convert all these people to enroll into just one class or, just one thing for a certification? Because most applications for community colleges are either free or are a very low cost to a potential student. So they often utilize it as something to fall back on. So it's an outreach, it's a marketing automated approach with personalization that we can actually turn those applications into enrollments. And schools like Redlands Community College actually have their application form through Akiro. So there's many different facets that you can use to really generate and build on your enrollment. So from what I've covered so far, we've covered all the steps in preparation for how are we going to reach out to a student, or how are we actually going to get them to want to come here. So we've done the research, which is really the base of the foundation. We have a creative that's going to, make you stand out above the other schools that are out there, or just above other brands, really. And now we have the way to track and monitor and reach out to students in a quick way. So the next thing that we're actually going to talk about is the messaging that you use and what type of copy or the values and how you stand out. So one of the best, really things that we want to focus on and examples of research that we've done here is looking at trends in community colleges. So this is something that we found from the Chronicle of Higher Education. They put out a study called The Looming Enrollment Crisis in 2019. And they noticed trends in different subjects in community colleges. And I thought this was really fascinating because it just looks at the current time, and especially through social media and what's really ongoing. So on the right-hand side, you can see the upward trends in community colleges. You'll notice that most of them deal with health and wellness and then society. So in the present time, especially through social media, when we're going through pretty much a global crisis right now of health, this is something that's really adamant and what students want to learn about. So that just shows that, hey, with the times, we need to make sure that your messaging is focused on these programs, because these are what students are going to want to learn. And on the other side of things, the downward trends in community colleges, they're focused on jobs that may be outdated or ones that students don't really want to go after. You'll see it's a lot of assistants, a lot of aides, bookkeeping, things like that that have become very outdated. A high school student or someone that's out there, they don't want to be an assistant anymore. They want to run the company. So it's things like, these classes we don't recommend, to be advertised or to be pushed through. But say you're running a campaign on Google search, everything that you have that deals with health and wellness, that deals with society, these are what you're going to want to advertise and put out there, because those students, they want to interact with that. They love the conversations that they see on social media about this. So these are some of the things to focus on that'll help your class structure stand out. The next thing that we're going to showcase you is actually with one of the partners that we work with, which is Jamestown Community College. So they're actually located in somewhat Western New York, close to Pennsylvania. And there was actually a study done by them in that same article that was put out for the Chronicle of Higher Education, the Looming Enrollment Crisis. And they talked about how actually the school is located in an area that's called the Dust Belt. And on a year-by-year basis, population keeps dwindling. But Jamestown Community College has had their enrollment stay up every single year while their population declines. And when you think about a community college, you think it's just commuters in the area that are going to the school. So JCC has really changed that mold, and especially in an area where you wouldn't think that. They're reaching out to international students. They're located in Western New York, but they're getting students from New York City. That's, a 4, 5, 6 hour drive away, depending on where you are. So they're really broadening their horizons to reach out to more and more students that live outside of Jamestown, New York. And one of the ways they're doing a tremendous job of that is the copy and the messaging that they're using in their ads. So these are 2 ads that are used on the Instagram and Facebook platforms, but you could see here that they focus on what's generating great value for them, or specifically their students. So you could see this first one here. They focus on 86% of graduates are employed full-time or pursuing further education within 6 months. So for a potential student, that's what really stands out to them. It's saying, hey, 86 out of 100 they've got a full-time job, or they're, maybe pursuing their undergraduate degree. So this is something that's really going to stand out for them. It's making JCC, it's breaking the mold of a community college and saying, hey, you come here, you're going to spend less money than a 4-year institution, and we're going to set you up just as well as that, private university or college could do. The one on the right, again, it's really focusing on what is important to these students. More than 50% of the students at JCC graduate debt-free. So with colleges right now, that's really the most important thing. That's the highest percentage of, students who don't want to go to a 4-year university are this reason. They don't want to pay 40, 50, 60 grand a year to go to these schools. So to go to a community college where you're more than likely going to get a full-time job, or go to a 4-year institution and complete your undergraduate degree in 2 years, you're going to be debt free, after once you graduate from JCC. So this is an excellent way to actually attract and focus on the value of what makes your school stand out. And especially for community colleges, it's extremely important to identify that before you reach out to everyone. So, and this is another quote that we pulled out to there, again, kind of piggybacking off what we just spoke about here. But, the most fundamental thing college leaders must try to understand about their institutions is what is your value? Not financial worth or cultural or intellectual importance or, the benefit to the communities or graduates, but it's what do you want to offer to students? And, what is it that students actually want? So this is what's really important to build those campaigns beforehand and actually generate what are your brand pillars. We like to say that there's 4 brand pillars that are out there that you can build your foundation on. Once you build your foundation and you know what students actually want and why they want to come to your community college, this is extremely crucial for that. If you offer health and wellness, or if you offer society classes that are fantastic, make that known to them if you feel really strongly about that. Sometimes community colleges will get stuck in this mold of trying to compete with a local four-year university. And we really believe that you can stand out on your own to make sure that you focus on what is your number one value. Is it smaller class sizes? Is it the professors that you have? So it's important to do that, and we work with all of our partners in identifying that and make sure that their copy, their messaging is focusing on that pretty much along everything. So we've really identified kind of those 4 main facets of what it takes to build an excellent digital marketing or just a marketing campaign in general. The first being that research, the second looking into creative, third, how are we actually going to monitor and move students further along the student recruitment funnel? And then finally is really looking at this messaging. What are our brand pillars? So that's really kind of recapping everything and what the key takeaways are. So the first one, again, research is the key to establishing your initiative. So this is the building block to start that foundation on. If you don't have research behind your marketing, probably 10 out of 10 times, it's not going to be successful. If you're just putting plans out there without knowing where your target audience is, what ages, what are their interests, it's really not going to be successful. So it's working to establish that research beforehand. Then it's going into that creative strategy and concept. It's a way to reach your entire audience in one unified approach. You want to make sure that you have advertisements that are out there that show different age groups, that show people interacting differently. You don't want the same cookie cutter ads that are out there, basically just showing that a high school student is walking around a campus or reading a book. It's not going to appeal, especially for a community college where those adult learners are so popular, and you want to get them because you want them to come out to your night classes or weekend classes because they're working or they have families. So these are some of the things that you need to really approach within the next 5-10 years here. Then we focus on the automation with personalization. It's crucial to maximizing your time and budget. That's one of the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest challenges community colleges face, because a lot of you may have these ideas already, but you're faced with, I just don't have the time to do all of this and go to speak to high school students and go to job fairs to talk about certifications. So that's where here at NetNatives, we work with all of our partners to help out with, and we understand, the frustrations that you go through in trying to get more budget, trying to get more people or get part-times or student interns, whatever that is. So, again, it's working into that marketing automation and utilizing that personalized approach that's going to attract students. And then finally, base your messaging off what makes you stand out as a community college. This is crucial, especially for any ads that are out there on digital marketing, for people to click through, bring them to your website of things that they actually really care about and what they want. And these all tie together towards, what's really going to make yourself stand out as a community college. And we recognize that there's a lot of different challenges that each of the 1,000 community college face around the country. Some may be similar to this, some may be not, but these are some of the ways that you can work to combat that and work with your team. So that is really everything that we wanted to cover. We're gathering up some questions right now that were just submitted, and within a minute or two, we're just going to cover all those, answer a couple questions, and then we'll be on our way here. So just give us 1 minute. We're going to gather up those questions, and we'll be right back with you. All right, everyone, thank you for waiting. So we've taken the time to gather a couple questions that we're going to answer here, and I think they're great. So we really appreciate everyone who submitted those. So the two that we're going to cover kind of can go hand in hand here, but the first one that was submitted, it looks at the question was, do you recommend advertising to current four-year students for summer courses? So it's a great question. And when I was in a four-year university, I did summer courses as well at a community college. And we think now, especially at this time of the year, it is a perfect time to advertise towards students that are currently enrolled in four-year universities. So as these students are approaching the end of the semester, it's when they're evaluating a lot of their plans. Are they looking at they may have to do another year to finish with their degree? Are there certain core curriculum classes that they may need? This is an excellent time to reach out to them. They're meeting with their advisors to plan next year. It's also an important time to have tactics that are targeting those parents as well. So you want to be looking at students that are coming back into the area. So students that are using similar zip codes, which you can target on. We can start to build audiences from your past learners that came out for summer classes and tried to fulfill their core curriculum. So now is a perfect time to do that because these students are ending in May. They only have a few weeks left. Spring break is coming up. So they're looking into their options right now and focusing on that. So we really think now is a perfect time to do that. And for some of our partners here, we do have marketing efforts and tactics and campaigns that are going out right now focusing on those. And within Net Natives, we start campaigns for as low as $1,000 that can reach certain zip codes and areas. So it allows you to be really customizable with a small limited budget, especially when you're coming up at the end of your semester here and you just want to get your summer registrations up. So yeah, it's a great question. We think now is the perfect time to really look into that and don't push those four-year students off, because there can be a lot that can enroll, and if they see the value that they can transfer credits over to their college, it's a great step for them to either finish school early or be in a great position. So we definitely recommend advertising to four-year students and making that a priority within the next couple of weeks and months coming up here. And the second question that we're going to answer and final one today is, do you have alternatives for a limited budget for 2020 fiscal year ending on June 30th? So this is another great question, and for pretty much, I would say 99 to 100% of our partners that we work with, the fiscal year for them ends on June 30th, starts again on July 1. So now's a time where a lot of schools are looking into 2021 already. They've kind of are saving their budgets for travel plans or looking at trips like that. But there is still a lot of time and a lot of students that are still out there that are very undecided about what their next steps are, in their life. If they're graduating high school or if they're, with their families, and they may be looking to going back to school. This is a perfect time. And even though we just have a few months left in the fiscal year, as I mentioned, we work within the platform Akiro and what's called Akiro advertising that has campaigns that start for as low as $1,000. So it allows you to be really flexible with a limited budget just for these last few months here. We've just started March. The winter went really fast, and it always seems to go by when you're, working through semesters and getting applications. It really goes quick, and the summer is on you right away. So, we definitely recommend to still have tactics run here, because especially for students that may be looking at community colleges, they make decisions very late. We notice for most of our partners that July and August are crucial times for them. And it's really important to have advertising, especially on social media, set up for them, because if they didn't get into their four-year university they wanted to go to, or conversations have happened where the financials just aren't going to work out, they didn't get any grants, scholarships, or financial aid, you want to be able to capitalize on that. So we definitely feel like, make sure that you take, and put as much effort into closing out this year, closing out this fiscal year. And then once you get into the later stages of June and the budget frees up for 2021, then you have focus there. So we think now is a great time, and we really appreciate everyone who tuned in today to go through community colleges. I think it's fascinating. And again, this is a webinar series that we're doing here at Net Native. So this is the second one that we've done. We have one that is coming up soon in a couple weeks, and that's going to be dealing with online education, online courses, and how you can really push those going forward. So very excited about that. I think especially with community colleges getting more and more into online education, that will be one to sign up for and listen in. So we really hope that you enjoyed this one. We hope you tune in some more. And thank you all again, and have a great rest of your day.